from the driver's seat, I'd be bored right now. Like, what do I do? You're not going to jam middle on someone. If you were a stock car driver, you would, but you could end up in these cars. You might end up in outer space.
All right, welcome to another Money Lap Reacts. I'm Parker Kligerman, joined as always by Landon Cassill. You may know us from our podcast, the Money Lap Podcast. These reacts are where we react to just some of the coolest moments in motorsports. We've done a lot of NASCAR, Landon. This time, we're going to do Indycar. One of the classic Indycar side-by-side finishes, I'm pretty sure, from the 2002 Delphi Indy 300 at Chicagoland.
Let's do it. You just reminded me, too, beforehand. I don't know if we're going to recognize any of these drivers. So before we start, over, under, how many of these driver names do you think you're going to recognize?
I'm going to definitely know about
4 or 5?
More than half. Yeah, I'll know half. More than half.
You'll know half?
For sure. Yeah,
I bet you I know less than 5 drivers in this field.
I think you're going to surprise yourself. You'll see.
Okay.
All right. Let's go. We're going to join in here. I think it's like 16 laps to go. All right. They're all side by side like normal. So that's Sam Hornish in the Pennzoil car. I know that.
Got him.
Panther Racing. That's easy.
Hunter Jr. got him.
Wait, Al Unser Jr. was still racing at this time? I totally forgot about that.
Gilles DeFerrin, that's 3. Okay, I'm. What did I say? 5?
You said you'd get 5. Yeah.
You know
Cassill.
Okay. Yep. Now this was an era. This era of IndyCars was wild because they were crazy fast. Was that Jacques Lazier, Buddy Lazier, Rice,
Buddy Lazier.
Weldon? Okay,
Yep.
Cheever. Okay, I know more of these drivers.
Buddy
than I
Rice.
thought. Yep, Sharp.
Victor Mira. Yeah, Scott Sharp. You know these names. Tony Renna there, R.I.P. And so, well, this era, we have to clarify, also was, right in the midst of the split between kart and the IRL. And the IRL went all ovals and V8 powered, was the idea of being like the ones for Americans, and then the kart series was more international flair. But you have Penske here now, who had moved over from kart. I'm just watching this 3 wide.
So
we should probably talk about the racing.
The thing that's interesting to me about IndyCar drafting that's different than stock car drafting is it's all about slingshot. You don't have as much of a bubble push with IndyCars as you do with stock cars.
It's a good point. They don't really have that bubble. Yeah,
they don't have much of a side draft either.
They don't, and they try and get near each other, but there's just not much of effect there, right? And so you get this side-by-side of the 2 lead cars, and then the cars behind are getting massive tows, but they can't do anything with it.
And the reason for that is, coming from a driver, not an aerodynamicist, to me the reason for that is the IndyCar body and wing and aerodynamic profile is way more efficient than a Cup car. It doesn't poke such a big hole in the air. So you don't have this bubble of stagnant air around the car, even at 200 miles an hour. They're super efficient, so there's not as much dirty air. There's not as much side draft of a wake off the side of the car.
Who was that in the Red Bull car that just made the move there to the outside, and it totally failed, by the way?
I have no idea. I can't even picture. Red Bull
Cheever?
Was in IRL back then?
It might be Eddie Cheever. Yeah, they had Eddie Cheever, and I think Sarah Fisher was the other one in the Red Bull car there. Or maybe that
look
was...
at these speeds.
I know, it's ridiculous.
At Chicago.
215.
This is a mile and a half.
Chicagoland. No third groove, though. Look at where the rubber's laid down. Yeah, it's Eddie Cheever. Oh, no, that's Buddy Rice in the other one, 52. That's Buddy Rice. So, and this was the thing back then. I remember watching this all the time, and you just watch these cars run side by side by side, and it just never could go anywhere, right? And you see Eddie Cheever gets that big run off of turn 2 down the backstretch into turn 3, but he has nowhere to go with it.
Wait, you're actually starting to make me bored with this. Even though it looks awesome, I feel like from the driver's seat, I'd be bored right now. Like, what do I do? You're not going to jam middle on someone. If you were a stock car driver, you would, but you could end up in these cars. You might end up in outer space.
You definitely. I mean, what was it? The year after this, when Kenny Breck went flying through the fence, or was that? And tore the fence down at Texas. Maybe it was 2002. And then you had Ryan Briscoe have a horrific crash like this a couple years later. That was the thing. Oh, we got block.
Okay, so we just changed lanes, or we almost changed lanes?
We almost changed lanes. We still did nothing. Nothing has changed. We've been 7 laps now. Nothing has changed. There's been a lot of movement and a lot of scary moments that have resulted in nothing being different.
Wait, so I don't want to, like, spoiler alert, give people a reason to tune out, but is this how the race finishes? Like,
yeah, it's gonna be something like this. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's why it's one of the popular finishes. Because you look at
Like
back at
iRacing.
this with rose. Well, you look back at this with rose-colored glasses, but to your point, this was such an odd thing at the time because these cars were just so lockstep and stuck. You had actual super speedway racing in NASCAR at its height, right, at this time. The kart series, the cars were way too fast, so they weren't ever doing this. Not way too fast. They were just insanely fast.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the IRL, though. This is what they did every week.
are they lifting at all?
So the guys behind definitely are. The leaders, I do not believe, are. Because they've never moved away from each other. I actually got to spend a lot of time with Sam Hornish Jr. when I was at Penske and talked about this era. He had some amazing stories. But, yeah, I mean, when you got to the lead like he is, all you're trying to do is just time it that you have the somewhat momentum here off of 4. Like, that was the whole game, right? See how he has that
the
little
lead
bit
of
of
the
momentum
line.
off 4? That's it. That's all you're trying to do. He had
He's
no
probably-
illusions of passing him.
He's probably practicing it right now, too.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he's working on, is just feeling out where he needs to be on their wheel going into 3.
No!
You know,
Look at that puck.
how to kind of angle his car and angle the corner to make sure he's leading at the line.
Yep. Eddie Cheever just shot it to the bottom there, all the way to the apron. Castroneves blocked him down. And he's now fallen back to 5th, Eddie Cheever. He was fighting for 2nd or 3rd there.
Now it's Kelly's team, their responsibility to get on there and say, hey, you need to try a different line now, Junior.
You got to try different. See, they were just talking about it. He wasn't getting the run to the line. So they're like, you got to try something. Which I guess the only thing he could do as we come to the white flag here is just force Sam up a little higher, right? Like take away
That's
a
what
little
he
bit
tried
of
to
lane.
do just there. Just off
Yep.
the 4, you could see he squeezed him up a little bit.
Oh, and he's got a half a car length. Now it's going to change on the exit.
There's a little push. Not really.
Oh!
Oh, my God.
Who's in third lane? Oh! Damn. Got it.
What? No, Hornish, they called Hornish and then Unser won it? No, they
No, Hornish got it.
by inches.
Yeah, it's going to be insanely close.
Unbelievable. Look at
Wow.
the rake of that car. Look how low the back is compared to the front.
It looks like a sim racing car.
Yeah. Wow, look at that. That's what?
amazing.
8 inches? I don't know.
Yeah, nothing in it. I love Lazier throwing it to the top. He had the third lane moving before anyone had heard of the third lane. Like, no one even knew it was a thing that could happen. Gosh. Sam Hornish, that Pennzoil Panther racing car, early 2000s Indycar, like, iconic. Just iconic.
That was a good one.
That was fun. That was fun.
Shout out to the
Okay,
Simpson Shark helmet, too. That was an OG helmet.
Oh,
I
yeah.
used to have one of those.
Those were all the rage in go-karting.
Yeah,
Love it.
All the rage.
This is when IndyCar and NASCAR had just a lot of crossover as well in terms of, type of racing, that sort of thing. But anyway, if you like that, let us know in the comments below. If you've got an idea for a race, it doesn't have to be NASCAR that we can react to. Let us know in the comments. We're going to go do the podcast. Peace.